entrepreneurs have a propensity to push themselves too far. And just as there's a positive side to the hustle, there's also a dark and deadly side that's been completely ignored in entrepreneurial culture that must be addressed. It's been widely reported that the founders of some of the most promising companies have ended up committing suicide. They didn't have the internal or the external resources to cope with the pressure. They may have been there, but they weren't necessarily aware of them at the time. Having grown up on a farm, having suffered burnout and depression in my lifetime, I'm all too familiar with the attitude of suck it up, sunshine, and keep going. Which, yes, is sound advice. However, it's sound advice, and here is the caveat, for individuals who have the mental resources and mental fortitude to keep going when others can't. I want you to really think about this. Starting a new business or growing an existing one puts you in a position you may have never been psychologically before. You're pushed to the brink and beyond, sometimes for extended periods of time without any relief. And just as a rubber band eventually has to snap back to its original state, albeit stretched so it can reach further next time, so do we at some point. That doesn't mean we don't aim for peak performance. That's always the goal. But what it does mean is that we know when to push forward and when to back off for our own sake. Think of it like this. Momentum is like breathing. You breathe in and you go hard, but eventually you're going to need to exhale. It's up to us individually to recognize in ourselves and others when we're pushing ourselves too far, and for each the signs will be different, and for some they may go completely unnoticed. Yes, there are going to be times that you'll need to pull an all-nighter or work all week and live outside of your comfort zone due to financial reasons. But living outside of it for extended periods of time, when that's all you're doing without any respite, can create greater challenges further down the track. Ignore, and I mean ignore, when people say you've got to keep pushing, especially if you know yourself, if you know deep down you're going to push yourself too far. But only you know that. There's a time and a place for everything, and sometimes now isn't the right time, and that's okay. You see, the art of the hustle is also the art of emotional management. Sure signs it's time for you to exhale are you're constantly angry, you lay awake at night worrying about what's going to happen the next day and not being able to put it down. You're constantly tired and you snap at people for the tiniest of things, where in the past you wouldn't have normally done that. Your first step is to get back into your body and out of your head and become aware of how you're actually doing. The second step is seeking help. Watch videos on YouTube for stress relief, daily meditation, hypnosis, talk to a professional, go for a walk, take up CrossFit, yoga, and most importantly, build this positive stimulus around a healthy diet. And be sure to check if downing cups of coffee each day is actually contributing to peak performance, or the increased heart rate is adding to a sense of anxiety, unease, and even dread. I get it. The first thing you'll scream at me is, Ben, I don't have time for this. Well, I can tell you from personal experience, the reality is you don't have time not to do this. Hustle responsibly and don't get caught up in the hype. We're not all built the same way, and for you to be successful in the long term, you've got to take care of yourself in the short term. And please stop telling yourself this bullshit story that you're Superman or Superwoman. You're no good to anyone, especially yourself, when you push yourself too far.